talk will be mainly about Firebase, so as a platform, and the concept. What I want to explain is what you can do with Firebase, and you can use Firebase with any other programming language. You can use it with, for example, also to develop Flutter apps, Ionic apps, or like, for example, let's say iOS or Android apps. And it's an easy way to get your idea up to speed and in production. So let's check this out. So first of all, I'm Michele. I have a startup in Italy named Club Up in the volleyball market. I write about tech on Medium, and yeah, I'm really inside the startup environment. I currently work in Amsterdam for the main ingredient. We are a venture builder, and basically we help small startup or like bigger companies that want to prototype an idea and send it to the market really fast. We help them, and for example, we work with ING or EMA. And if you want to reach me out, you can find me on Twitter here. And so let's talk about Firebase. So I think the best place to check the landing page together. And this is one of my favorite quotes. Is basically you can build up fast without managing infrastructure. This is the main reason I use Firebase, because like if you have a backend, you need to have a server, then you need to host it, you need to pay for this server, and usually a fixed variable amount. And most of the time you just want to have something on the market quick, and then maybe you don't want to pay for that. So like Firebase is an entire platform. It started with just a database, real-time database, then has been acquired by Google, and then Google has expanded, of course, the platform a lot. And you have some main features that are the Cloud Firestore, that is a NoSQL database. You can also have some machine learning functionality. You have something called the Cloud Functions, that basically you can write your backend with this Cloud Function. And you can totally manage the authentication with that. You can host your project. You have some storage for pictures, and you have also the real-time database that is like the old version of the database. Then if you ship an app, you have something for manage the crash, and also to distribute the app. And also to grow, you have like now connects with Google Analytics. You have also push notification and dynamic links. So like for example, for push notification, usually if you develop an app, you will use another platform. I think it's called AppSignal, if I'm not wrong. But with Firebase, you can just put all your stuff in Firebase, and then all the products are connected each other.
Does it come as a part of the Google Cloud platform, GCP?
Yeah. Or basically, there is Google platform at the bottom, and then there is Firebase at the top. So when you, let's say, deploy your cloud functions, these are running on the Google Cloud platform. Okay. But you don't need to know about Google Cloud platform.
It's abstraction.
Yeah, exactly. So let's check this out. So you don't need to use all of it. You can use just one feature, some main features, and these are the features that I use the most. So I use authentication. You have email, you have phone, social, and also more stuff. And you can also have a drop-in that you can just drop in your front end, and it will handle the authentication for you, and also handles the account merging. So let's say if today one user sign in with Google, tomorrow it does the same with Facebook, then the platform will manage the merging of the account for you, and you don't need to care about this. Firestore is the NoSQL real-time database. So NoSQL, we work with documents and collection, and real-time database means that basically you can subscribe to the database changes, and if something changes in the database, then it also changes in your front end. You have a web interface to access the database also. You can access this database from the front end directly, or you can, for example, use the admin SDK to access it from the server. Um, Hosting, you can just host your app with Firebase. You can easily connect a domain and also the SSL certificate, and you can also use the CDN to deploy where you want. And Cloud Function, basically you can run your backend code and you don't need to care about server. You create this backend code with Node.js, and you can write HTTP function or triggers on authentication. For example, if a user sign up, you do something, or database. So, for example, if you have something is created, then you can do something else. And you have also the cron jobs, which make a quite complete backend. Also for mobile, you can use push notification for web, iOS, and Android, and you also have the magic links. So I think it's really a full-featured platform that can easily speed up your development. So let's do some practice so to get more practical with the platform and what we're gonna do. We're gonna connect an Angular project to Firebase. You don't need to have like experience in Angular. What I want to show is how easy you can set this up, how fast you can set this up, and what authentication with Firebase means, what real-time database means. So just getting in touch with the platform. So we're gonna do our authentication. When the user register, we're gonna do some logic, and we're gonna see how to add the data to FileStore from the client directly without needing a backend. You need to create some cloud function, and also we're gonna see what real-time data means. So let's check out some code. Here I have my Visual Studio Code, and I just created a Angular project with the Angular CLI. This is like just typical Angular app. And but first of all, we need to create a Firebase project. So you just need to register with your Google account, and then you can just add a project. You can just Firebase here. You can enable Google Analytics, and then this basically under the hood will create a Google Analytics project and will already connect with your app. But for now, we don't need this. And then, this is basically just gonna create our project inside the Firebase and also on the Google Cloud platform. And after our project is set up, we can use a nice library called Angular Fire to connect Angular with Firebase. That is just a wrapper on the client SDK. So let's see this project. So here on the left, we have like what we talked about before: authentication, database, storage, hosting. And so let's check Angular Fire. So Angular Fire here. So this is a simple wrapper. You have also for other platform, and basically it's just can help you to set up Firebase with Angular. So I think there was some quick start here. So so what I did is basically this. I created a project, and then you can run this command to.
So you have an npm package of this Firebase. You install something? Install something.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell it now. So this is the demo. Yeah. So basically, usually in Node, what you have is like npm install dependency. In Angular, you have something called the schematics, and this ngadd is an example of it. And basically, what this does, it will do the npm install, and it will also do some code changes under the hood. So basically automate the setup process, and you don't need to care about, changing some files, for example. So it's a nice way to install things and speed up development. And I think so. Now it's installing all the packages, and in the meantime, like usually to authenticate, you have to create an app for the project. So in this case, we're gonna create a web application, and we can just call it web. Yeah, and basically this is some keys that you need to copy into your project in order to authenticate. And here basically is the CLI is connected with my Google account and can see which project do I have and which one do I want to connect. So I'm gonna connect this Firebase project, and here we go. So now I need to add the credentials here. No, this is another one. Environment, this one. So here we add a Firebase base key, and then here, we just copy this one. So, and then, okay, let's go to another terminal maybe here. So I think now we can just start this up. Now, demo here, npm start. And let's do some setup. So basically you can do the, yeah. So basically what we are doing, we have the Angular Fire module and we initialize the application with the Firebase credentials. Then, because we're gonna do some authentication, we also put this Angular Fire out module and also a Firestore module. Basically, like these modules are used in Angular to give functionality to our app. So they are wrapper and they're just modules, and then you give them to your app and then you get some functionality out of it. So I should have here a component, and I have a small example. So the here, and so if we check out the code, basically what we want to do, if the user is authenticated, then we show the username and the logout. And if your user is not authenticated, then we just show login with Google. And so this is the basic authentication. We also need the methods, of course. So, and the login is quite easy. We are gonna, when you click this login button, we're gonna just do the sign in with pop-up from this Angular Fire out library, and we're gonna pass Google out provider to basically sign in with Google, and then or you can just sign out like this. And if you pass different provider, like I don't know, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, then you have different authentication.
Okay.
And you only all providers or any kind of provider?
You have all these kind of providers here. So you basically in the dashboard you enable the sign-in methods. So you can do email, password, phone. I think like you have also phone send a message, and you have like some generous limit, and then you can just connect like you can authenticate with your phone. I'm gonna show the Google one. So here, yeah, I can use my email, and there we go. So like this will enable, no, it's not enabled yet here. So now the user can authenticate with Google, and I think we should be able to see something here. Yeah, so we can log in with Google, for example, here. Here, and then, yeah. So like it took basically 1 or 2 minutes to set up the authentication, and I can actually see all my users here. So I can see the provider, I can see when the user is being created, last time that they signed in, and also the unique identifier. So this is like the basic authentication, how it works. With the email, for example, you can send some email to verify the email address or password reset, so it's quite handy. But because I did the sign in with Google, yeah, I don't need that. So let's say that now when a user register, I want to create some document in database relating to that user. So to do that, we have to first initialize the database. So yeah, this will be the Firestore database. We are gonna start in test mode. So basically, here we are gonna enable like everyone to read and write to our database. But then what you can do, you can define some rules, and based on these rules, you can say, okay, if the user, only the user that is signed in, that has specific value in the key, can write to a specific document. So you can do some kind of protection. So what I want to do, I want to set up some logic that when a user registers, I want to create a user document in the database. So in order to do that, we can use the cloud function trigger based on the authentication, and creating it is quite easy. So the only thing that I need to do, I need to npm, it's like Firebase init functions in my project. And yeah, I can use JavaScript or TypeScript. Yeah, let's just go for JavaScript. ESLint, yeah. And dependency with npm, yeah, fine. And basically created this folder here that is like its own project, has its own package.json, its own script, and this is basically my backend code. Yeah, I created a small function that basically is gonna do something when the user sign up. So we import the function, we import the admin SDK to access the database, and we initialize the application. And then the logic is that when the out user is created, we access the Firestore database and we create a document in the user collection with the user unique identifier as key. And then we're gonna set an empty array of items and also the timestamp to know when it's been created. So now we have this function, out user on create. This is the trigger that basically activate the code that is inside the body of the function. You can see where it's deployed, and yeah, it runs on node 8, and also different parameters. You have also logs, health, and if the function is usage. So now if we log in here, now that the logic will be triggered, and there is this document and database. So 69, yeah, it's the same unique ID. So now we want to put some data here from the client, and we can do it quite easily. So if we go to the what we have here, a component. Here we can add an input, and like basically we get the value to this input to an add function, and then we have also some logic to basically display all the items of the user. So here it's like add. Yeah, so the logic to add is quite easy. We get the current user unique identifier, and we say, okay, Angular Firestore, get this document user unique ID, and update the items array with the value that has been added. And so, like, as you can see, it's quite easy. Let's also add some more logic for basically display the user information. User here. And here is more or less the same. So we get the user, and like if we have a user, we change the document with the user ID, and we use the value changes method that basically subscribe to the database changes. So in this way, if we are here, we should have this form, and we can write something, and then basically what just happened, this pizza item has been added to the database. It's actually here, and because we subscribed to the items and we displayed them, then this shows here. And yeah, of course we can just we can just add more stuff, and this is basically also what real-time database means, that you can just, let's say, add stuff here, and then like because you have the subscription active in your front end, this just gets updated in real time. And this is like a really awesome feature for real-time data. I did something similar with GraphQL in the past, but you need a lot more code in order to have the same result. Actually, it's not polling, so it's not like checking the database stuff, but it's actually a active subscription running.
How an active subscription? Can you be more precise on that? Because you said it's not long pulling, so it's what?
Yeah.
Open WebSocket and it's waiting for.
Yeah. So there is a WebSocket connection, and basically this. Do you know about Eric's JS, reactive JS? Yeah. So you have a subscription, and you can just subscribe to something, and then you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the technology that Firestore uses with WebSockets, and basically when there is an update on the database itself, they send a notification to the front end, and basically this triggers the update on the front end itself. But like you have a totally abstraction of it. Like you don't need to know a lot, you need to code a lot. You just get it working really fast. I want to finish this with some pros and cons, because yeah, of course you have both of the sides. As you have seen, Firebase is quite easy to use. You don't need to care about infrastructure, and this is really important point for me, because like in the past I had some backend, and like when you have some problem with the infrastructure, you need to log into the server, you need to understand what is wrong, and like if you're not skilled at that, like it can be sometimes really blocking. And you just pick what you need. You need like everything. The price we have seen is like really cheap, especially for like small side projects, and it has a nice ecosystem. So basically, you just plug this thing. You have analytics, database, push notification, and machine learning, for example. But of course, you have some cons. The biggest one is the dependency. So like you're using this Firebase project, platform is from Google, so quite reliable, but like, I mean, if in the future they shut it down, you need to adapt on it. If for some reason like the servers are offline and it doesn't work, the SDK doesn't work, yeah, you just, so it's like give and take, let's say. Database query are limited. Let's say, for example, there is no or condition. So like if you work a lot of like relationships or like really complex query, yeah, I would not suggest to use this. Then like as you have seen, the database and the cloud function are remote. So like if you use it to have like your backend locally and like debug things locally, then you need to do some setup in order to do that. And data migrations, usually, for example, on Ruby on Rails, you have data migration, you can then roll back easily, and you can store all of that. in this case, like if you need to do some data migration in database, you need to write the script by yourself, let's say. So should you use this Firebase or not? Yeah, absolutely yes. For a side project, I think like it will. If you have an idea in mind, you can just be up and running in seconds. And so I also suggest it for MVP pilot, where you don't want to spend like weeks, months on like setting up infrastructure and like all the backend things. And also if you're not into backend development, but you just need to ship something fast. I will not suggest it if you're really good with deploying, managing, and also paying a backend is not a problem for you. Also, if your app needs heavy database usage, because like if you do a lot of write, I think you have like 20K write a day. But for example, if you write a forum or chat app and your app goes crazy, then you're gonna start paying. So yeah, of course, I really advise it for some projects, but really depends on the use case. So that's mainly it. Hope you had a nice overview of it, and if you have any question, just feel free to ask.
Very good for the time.
Yeah, fantastic.
Very good.
Thanks.